Hi guys! This week I'm going to show you how to build my Indirect Box. Last week I showed you this little invention of mine and how it works, what it does. Today I'll show you how to make one. Before I do that, I'm going to point out to you that there is a new little switch and it is super important. It's a ground lift switch, intended for the reamping stage. I didn't even know that I needed this until after the video. I was playing around and I turned up the treble control on the bass amp a whole bunch and I realized that there's a background hum, and that hum is a ground loop. I thought about it for a minute and I realized, oh, this is obvious. The DA converter is grounded. It's sending a signal out to this box, which then goes into an amplifier, which is grounded. There's two paths to ground. That's what we call a ground loop. This switch defeats the ground loop. Sometimes, though, you want this box grounded, like when you're recording DI. The reason is, well, the instrument, if it's an electric bass or an electric guitar, is not grounded unless you connect it to something that is. So in the case of plugging a bass into an amplifier, the amp is grounded, that's your path to ground. Or if you're recording DI the traditional way, the mic preamp is the path to ground. It's very important to have only one path to ground, otherwise you're going to have a ground loop. So the switch is super important. It's a little bit different though from the typical ground lift switch that you would see on a DI box. Usually in that case, the lift is going to be affecting the XLR jacks. In this case, it's not like that. It's affecting the 1/4 inch jacks. It's lifting the ground from there. That's really important to note. And another thing that's also very important to note is you're going to definitely want to use isolated 1/4 inch jacks. I'm using Cliff jacks. There's several brands. Essentially, they're just plastic. They're not metal, and that's really important because you don't want to create an electrical path to the case that can't be controlled by a switch. So if you want to use Switchcraft jacks, make sure you use the Switchcraft brand isolation washers. That will allow you to have those 1/4 inch jacks isolated from the metal case. That said, let's get on to how to make the Indirect Box. These are the actual components you'll need. As you see, there's not really much to this. The most important thing here, obviously, is the transformer. In this case, it's a 10K to 20K transformer. That's really what you want to use. These are the tools I think you'll need for this. You might want to have a drill press. You could probably do it with a hand drill, but I think a drill press is best. One of the first steps you might want to do is take that transformer out of the packaging. And it comes with this little L bracket. You're going to need to mount that onto the transformer so that you have a way to mount the transformer inside of your case. It comes with 2 screws that are self-tapping. Just need a Phillips screwdriver, and then you can get those in there. Make sure you don't over-tighten it, but get it nice and snug. Okay, and the final step for getting this transformer ready to go is this white wire. We don't even need it. That's if you're going to mount this transformer inside of a plastic enclosure or something that's not shielded. This wire allows you to connect to a grounding point so that the mu metal can is shielded. But since we're putting it inside of a metal enclosure, we don't have to really worry about that. I'm going to snip it off. And now we have a little piece of extra wire that we can save for later use, putting this box together. This is the part where your Sharpie and ruler come in handy. You may want to find the center point on the case to mark a hole. And that's going to be the mounting point for the transformer. Now that I have that plotted, I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I want my 1/4 inch jacks. I'm going to put those on this side. Now using my drift, I'm going to mark the center. Purpose of this is so that the drill bit has a nice place to catch and it doesn't bounce out and go all over the place. I'm going to drill an 1/8 inch hole right here for mounting the transformer on the inside. Okay, that would be fine, and you could leave that as is if you were planning to use a panhead screw. But I'm going to be using a tapered screw. So I'm going to use this little jobby. This is a different drill press. I have this platter on an angle so that my working surface is level. And that's because these sides of the cases are definitely angled. 1/8 inch drill bit. I'm just going to go around all these holes on the sides and drill those out. I have my 1/2 inch step drill bit now in this chuck. It's a unibit. I'm going to drill out the 1/4 inch jacks using this bit, and then I'll start the other holes as well. Now for the XLR jack holes, which I'm starting, you could use this 1/2 inch bit to go all the way through. I don't like going all the way through with it because the bit can kick around, and I'm doing this by hand. I don't really want to get hurt, so I'll just use a different bit for enlarging that hole a little bit more before switching to the big guy. Okay, I've got the XLR jack side now with the 7/8 unibit here. I'm just going to enlarge these holes a little bit so that I can get my 1-inch unibit on it without killing myself. Now, in order to use the 1590 BB box with the XLR jacks, you may need to modify the bottom lid like I did, which would require to use a hand file. You could see I marked where those XLR jacks were, and then I filed down this little lip. There's a lip that goes all the way around this bottom lid, and it's so close that if you just shave off that lip right with those XLR jacks, they'll fit just fine.